Chairman, Hero Enterprises, Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal is now joining us. Thank you very much, sir. The headline figure, of course, from the Finance Minister's budget speech today was the big capex spend, 33% increase, 10 lakh crores. But the fact that she's managed to increase that outlay and yet at the same time stick to the fiscal glide path, what do you make of this fiscal tightrope that the Finance Minister has walked?
I think this has been a wonderful tightrope walk that she has demonstrated. On the one hand, she's continued down the road of growth, which the country sorely needs, even though we are growing faster than most of the parts of the world. But for our own needs, it is essential right now. At the same time, she's also managed to do a social spend on groups, skilling centers, green agriculture, green hydrogen. So it's actually been a very vast area she's covered in a shorter than normal speech. And in reasonably simple language, she managed to cover a fairly large ground, I must say.
The 35,000 crore allocation for transitioning from fossil fuels to clean energy, what kind of sort of knock-on effect do you reckon that will have in the auto sector as well as in the ancillary space?
I think it's going to have two or three different impacts. One, the current structure of the industry will change because there are a lot more new players who are entering the automotive industry, and some of them will give real competition to the existing players. Also, the component industry in clean fuels is much, much smaller. So we will actually see a negative growth of the number of units in the auto component area. But it will create a whole lot of new opportunities in the infrastructure that the clean mobility requires. Whether it's charging stations or it's batteries or replacement of batteries, there's a whole host of new initiatives which will come up. And as you move forward, companies are also looking at autonomous driving, etc. So it is just a whole slew of new initiatives that will come up, which is why I was happy with the proposal to set up an initiative to encourage apps for 5G, for example.
Correct.
I was very happy with what she's spoken about, artisan skills, that one district, one product. That's a very powerful program. I don't know how many people realize that. It can actually be a game changer for rural India. Because not only do we need to improve agriculture, we need to improve the rural economy overall. Because only if all the rural India grows, does all of India grow.
And one final word, I mean, a marker of that rural demand and rural growth is, of course, the sale of two-wheelers. Are you seeing a significant pickup in demand, particularly in the last few months, since now we are very much out of the pandemic?
So first, to clarify, I am no longer running Hero Motorcorp.
I know that.
My brother does. But just to tell you that, So it's interesting. In almost all product categories, whether you look at cars, motorcycles, TVs, refrigerators, the lower price, simpler models have all suffered in demand. The higher end of the market has actually done exceedingly well. Which is worrying because the spend available, the surplus available to spend at the bottom of the pyramid has actually got squeezed. Inflation has had an impact, and compensation and wages have not kept up. Which is why some of these initiatives are actually critical, that while the government spends a big infrastructure, it needs to create demand so that the private sector investment can also get crowded in. And I think if we continue down this road and we are able to implement what is announced today, we will see a salutary impact of that in the next year to 2 years. Starting in the next year to 2 years, but covering 3 to 5 years, I would imagine.
All right. Mr. Munjal, as always, a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. So